Hello everyone, I am PRATIMA PATIL from APPA Public School. Okay, today I am going to start the lesson that is crop production and management from 8th standard syllabus. That is from 8th standard science syllabus. The first lesson in biology is the crop production and management. Okay, so here you all might be knowing that what is meant by exactly the crops. Okay, the grains which we are using for our daily food purpose, right? So that food, from where it is coming, who is growing that, and how he is growing that. Okay, so all those things we are going to study in this lesson. So here, first of all, you should know that what is meant by agriculture, right? So here in this lesson, I have written already the synopsis of the lesson. So here it is, the beginning of the lesson. We are going to study the definition of the agriculture. Okay, then we know we are going to get the definition of the crops. And then we have to go for the first step in the agriculture process, that is preparation of soil, right? So after preparing the soil, we have to go for sowing the seeds. Sowing the seeds is simply whatever the seeds which we are going to get from your house or from the market, simply we cannot go for sowing that. We need to select from that the seeds which are of good quality, right? So we have to go for selecting the good quality seeds for the purpose of sowing. So in the sowing you are going to study about the selection of seeds, right? And then we are going for sowing process. In the sowing again there are two methods are there, the traditional method and the modern method. Okay, those all two you are going to get during the explanation of this lesson. Okay, and after sowing, the next step in the agriculture process is the addition of manure and fertilizer, right? These are manure, fertilizer, these all are the nutrients which we are going to add to our field to increase the nutrient quality of our soil, right? And when the soil of field is going to be increased, the nutrient quality is going to be increased, that time the yield of the crops, that is whatever the final product we are getting from the agriculture, the yield can be increased if you add extra nutrients either in the form of manure or in the form of fertilizer. Okay, so it is very important to add the nutrients to the soil in the form of manure and fertilizer. And here the manures are the organic nutrients and the fertilizers are the inorganic nutrients, right? So here we are going to add either the manure and fertilizer depending upon the type of the crop which you are growing over there, the type of the seed which you have sown over there. Depending upon that type of the seed, you need to select the type of the fertilizer. Okay, so next one, after addition of the manure and fertilizer, the next one is irrigation, that is watering the crop plants. Okay, we need to water the crop plants at a regular interval. Okay, in the field, whatever the seeds we have sown, for those seeds to germinate and to start the nursery, growth of the nursery, for that we need to add the water to that. And the watering the crop plants at a regular interval is called as irrigation. Okay, so next, after that, protecting from the weeds. Okay, after providing the nutrients, after providing the water to the crop plants, along with our crop plants, there may be a chance that some other unwanted plants may grow, right? Along with our crop plants, some unwanted plants can grow, and those unwanted plants are called as weeds, right? And these plants will compete with our crops for the purpose of water and for the purpose of nutrients and minerals which are present in the soil, right, which we have added for the purpose of our crops, right? So we need to remove these weeds from our field. So we need to go for protecting the crop plants from the weeds by removing the weeds. There are many removal methods are there for the weeds. Okay, I will explain you that one also. And after that, when the crop plant is completely grown, when the mature crop plants are observed in the field, that time usually we are going to go for the process of harvesting, that is cutting the crop plant. Whether we can go for two methods of harvesting. The first one is we can even cut directly the stem part which is near to the soil surface and extract the crop plants. Other one, directly uproot the crop plant from the soil. Right, directly uproot. That means with the root you are going to take out the crop plants from the soil. That is uprooting the crop plants. Both the methods can be followed, or it's depending upon the farmer, which one he wants, he can select that. Okay, after this harvesting, the final step in the process of agriculture is the storage. That is, whatever we have harvested, we have dried, we have crushed those grains are to be kept in a particular storage area so that we can preserve it for a long time. Right. So there are many storage areas are there to store the grains which we have harvested over here in the previous steps. Right. So this is actually what complete content of the lesson which you are going to study in this lesson under crop production and management. Okay. So now the first one, that is agriculture. So here, how agriculture has started? Who started the agriculture? Or how the agriculture came in picture? Right. So here if this is the thing, then you should first know that up to 10,000 BC, people were nomadic. People were nomadic, right? Nomadic means wanderers. They are going to wander here and roam here and there from place to place in a group for the search of food. For the search of food. They are going to roam with a group. In a group, they are going to roam from one place to another place in the search of this food. Okay, and usually these nomadics or wanderers are going to hunt the animals. They are hunting the animals and they are going to use that for the purpose of or use as a food. Right. And when the nomadic population increases, when the population of the nomadics increases, right, that time the need for the food is also increased. The need for the food is also increased. That time, whatever the animals were available at that time, with which they are referring for the purpose of food, their number is not sufficient for the nomadics. Right? Those many animals are not becoming sufficient food for all the people. That time, they have started growing some of the plantlets of fruits, vegetables. Right? They started now growing the fruits and vegetables, and along with that, they even came to know that even in the same way we can even grow the grains. We can even grow the grains also at the same process. Right? That time, when they think that even grains also can be grown, that time actually the process of agriculture started. Right? That time actually the process of agriculture started. Fine. So now, next one. After the agriculture, the next one is about the crop. About the crop. So here, it's very important, students. Just remember, we can ask you the definition of a crop for 1 mark. Right? It's very important. From this part, 1 mark question may arise in the form of definition of the crop. So, observe carefully. What is crop here? Or define a crop if it is asked in the examination. Then the answer for that is similar kind of plants are grown at one place on a large scale. On large scale. Right? Similar kind of plants which are grown at one place, that too on a large scale, are called as crops. Okay, in this definition, some important points are there. You need to remember that while writing the definition. If at all those words are missing in the answer, then definitely you are going to lose the marks. So remember here, similar kind of plants. This is very important point. You can't write the plants are grown at one place. Here, similar plants. Similar means it may be all plantlets which you are growing are maybe wheat plants only, or maybe maize plants only paddy plants, right? Like that. Any one particular crop plant you can name here. Okay. So, similar kind of plants are grown at one place on a large scale is also very important. That means at a time, bulk amount of or huge amount of the plants are grown over there. That's why we are using the word here large scale. Right? If we are growing the seeds, we are sowing the seeds or growing the plantlets in our garden, then that is not called as a crop or agriculture process. That is just gardening it is. Right? So here on a large scale, a huge amount, if we are growing the plants and extracting the grains from that, then that is called as a crop. Right? So now the next one, which is very important again. that is the types of crops. Types of crops. Okay, students. So here types of crop means we are again dividing the crops depending upon the season in which we are growing them. You should remember that the classification of the crops is depending upon the season in which we are growing. You need to better, I'll write that, just observe it. Depending upon the season in which crops are grown, they are divided still here, depending upon the season in which we are growing the crops. So, upon this season, the types of the crops can be classified again into two types, right? Depending upon the season, the crops are classified into two types. The first one is kharif crop. The first one is kharif crop. Okay, and the second one is rabi crop. Second one is rabi crop. Okay, these are the two types of the crops which are classified depending upon the season in which they are grown. Okay, so here comes to the first one, that is kharif crop. Here kharif crop means this is the crop which is grown during the rainy season. Grown during the rainy season. Okay. Usually in India, the rainy season starts from June to September. June to September. If the grains are grown during the month of June to September in the season rainy, then those crops are called as kharif crops. Right? So, what are the examples for that? Examples. Okay, kharif crops examples are paddy, maize, cotton, groundnut, etc. Right? So here the crops which are grown in the rainy season, that is during the month of June to September, are called as kharif crops, and the examples are the paddy, maize, cotton, groundnut, etc. Okay, so the next one, that is rabi crops. Okay, rabi crops are also called as winter crops. That means during the season of winter, these crops are grown. Right? During the season of winter, these crops are grown. That's why these crops are called as even winter crops. Right? So, what is the month for that? During the month of October to March. During the month October to March, if we are growing the particular crop, then those crops are called as rabi crops or even winter season crops. Okay, next one, that is example. Examples are wheat, gram, pea, wheat, gram, pea, mustard, okay, linseed, etc. So these all are called as rabi crops. Apart from this, still many are there. Just remember these many examples it's enough. Okay, if you want to collect still more examples for the different types of the crops, you can do that. Okay. So next one, I think it is clear to you the types of the crops, the kharif and the rabi crops. Okay. So the next part of the lesson is preparation of soil. This is actually the first step of agricultural process. Okay. Okay students, the first step in agriculture process, that is preparation of soil. Right? The preparation of a soil, even we can call it as plowing the land. or even it is called as tilling. Right? It is even called as plowing or tilling. Right? So preparation of a soil means whatever in the previous cycle we have harvested the grains, right? In that particular field, now the field is completely free because the grains and the crops are harvested over there. So now that field is not fit to go for the next sowing process immediately. We need to go for preparing that soil, right? We need to go for preparing that soil. So how to prepare the soil? First you know how to prepare the soil. Then we will study about why to prepare the soil. Why to go for plowing, tilling, or even we can call it as loosening the soil. Even it is called as loosening the soil. First we will study how the soil is prepared, okay, or else plowed or tilled. Okay. So for that purpose, the main instrument which we are using, the tool which we are using in the agriculture process is the plow. Right? That is plow. Whatever you are seeing over here upon the board, this is the traditional plow. This is the traditional plow. Right? Even modern plow is also there. I will explain this one after the traditional one. Okay. So listen here. This is the plow, okay, which is used for the purpose of loosening the soil. So here, how this plow is helpful to make the soil loosen? Just imagine, students, this is the big wooden log is there, right? Wooden log is there which is attached to a beam here, and this complete system, complete instrument, the complete tool is going to be dragged by the animals which are tied over here. Right? Understanding? So now this is the beam and this complete the wooden part is there, wooden log is there, which is called as a plow shaft. And which is attached to the next part of the plow tool, that is the plow share. Right? This complete part which you are observing here, this is the plow share. Right? So this plow share is having a triangular iron strip over here. You can see this one. This is an iron strip. Right? So that this iron strip is giving more strength to this tool. Okay. So the main function of loosening the soil is done by this iron strip. Okay. So this is only one which is going to be getting in contact with the soil, piercing the soil and entering inside that and loosening the topsoil when the animals are about to move front. Right? You need to imagine, that's why I said this is the tool which is dragged by the animals and the iron strip is coming in contact with the soil layer and piercing the soil. When the animals are allowed to move front, this is going to loosen the topsoil. Right? So this is actually how the soil is tilled or how it is plowed or loosened by using the traditional plow. Okay, the modern plow is nothing but the tractor driven. It is the tractor driven plow. Right? It is the tractor driven plow. It is very useful, available in every areas, and this is going to reduce the consumption of the time, reduce the usage of the laborers, and it is like very much followed by almost all farmers. Right, the traditional one is also being followed, but it consumes lots of time and labor. That is actually the back things of this traditional plow. Okay, so now the next one. Okay, so here you are getting one more definition, that is what is plowing or tilling. What is plowing? Definitely for again 1 mark, what is meant by plowing or tilling? Right? The loosening of the soil is called as plowing or tilling. The loosening, the loosening of the soil by using plow is called as plowing or tilling. Right? So this is the definition. I am sure one more question from this part. Plowing or tilling definition. Okay, the loosening of the soil by using a plow. It may be the modern plow or it may be a traditional plow, but we are doing the loosening of the soil. The process that done is loosening of the soil. That's why we are going to call that loosening of the soil as a plowing or tilling. Right? So the next one. You came to know now how the plowing, tilling or else the loosening of the soil is done. Right? Now the next part is why it is done. Why we have to go for loosening the topsoil. Directly without doing the preparation of the soil, we can go for the next step, that is sowing directly. We can't go like that. If you directly going for the sowing process without preparing the soil, then it is going to definitely affect the yield of the crops. Finally, whatever you are getting the yield, it is going to be reduced. Right? So now next one, that is why the plowing is done. First one, you can even call it as advantages of plowing. Advantages of plowing. Okay, so here in this advantages of plowing, the first point is this helps to exchange the nutritious soil from down to up. Right? It is going to shift the nutritious soil from the below layer to the above. Right? Just it is mixing nutritious soil can come to surface by loosening of the soil. Okay, next one. It is going to help to increase the porosity of the soil. To increase the porosity of the soil. Right? The loosening of the soil is going to increase the porosity of soil. Why it is required to increase the porosity of the soil? Then the answer for that is, if you increase the porosity of the soil, it is easy for the crop plant to penetrate the roots of that deep inside the soil. Right? If the soil particles are completely compact, all soil particles are arranged very near to each other, that's compact. If that is the condition, the roots cannot penetrate deep inside that, because there is no chance of, there is no way for the roots to penetrate deep inside the soil, right? So to increase the penetration of the soil to enter deep inside the soil, then we need to go for separation of the soil particles. So that separation of the soil particles is nothing but the loosening of the soil, that is plowing process. So this is going to help in increasing the porosity of the soil. Right? Then third one, it is helpful in retaining the water. Right? The porous soil help in retaining the water for long time. For long time. Right? Once if you irrigate, then maybe around 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, depending upon the climatic condition, the water will be retained inside the soil, and that retaining of the water will be increased if porosity is present in the soil. Right? Porosity is nothing but if the soil particles of the soils are arranged quite away from each other. Right? There should be an air gap between that, and because of that only the next advantage is the loosening of the topsoil is even going to help in the exchange of gases. Exchange of gases. Right? The loosened topsoil is going to helpful again in the exchange of the gases. Right? So these many are the advantages of loosening the topsoil. If it is not followed, then we may get less yield at the end of the agricultural process. Right? So this is complete about the preparation of soil. Fine. Then next step. Second step in the agriculture, that is sowing. Preparation of the soil is done. Right? Next one is sowing. Okay students, second step in agriculture process, that is sowing, right? So here sowing means addition of the grains to the soil. Adding the grains to the soil so that those seeds can germinate and forms the plantlets or nurseries of that particular crop plants and finally grow and mature, and we can go for harvesting and then we can obtain the grains from that, right? So the seeds which we have selected, which one we want to grow in that particular field, we have to go for addition of those seeds in the field, and that process of addition of the seeds to the field is called as sowing. Okay, before going for the addition of that seed to the soil, we need to select the good quality seed. That means we have to go for the step of selection of seeds. We have to go for the process of selection of the seeds before going for sowing process, right? So how to select the good quality seeds, right? We have to go for selecting the good quality seeds, because if the seeds are already contaminated with the microorganisms or already the nutrient quality of that grain is very less, then those grains cannot give rise to a healthy crop plant, right? Because of that only we have to go for selecting the good quality or healthy seeds. Okay, so how to select the seeds? First of all, take a beaker or a big container, depending upon the amount of the seeds which you have selected for the activity to do that, whether they are healthy or unhealthy. So take a beaker, just it is a laboratory method I am explaining you. Take a beaker, okay, and fill that around more than half with the water, right? Fill the beaker around more than half or 60% with the water, right? Now add the seed of interest, that means which you have selected the seed for the purpose of sowing. Those seeds need to add, right, to this beaker which containing the water. You are going to add the seeds of your interest, right? Now stir this, okay, and allow it to settle for 10 to 15 minutes. After addition of the seeds, stir this continuously and allow the seeds to settle. Right. So next what will happen? What is the observation of this particular activity? Okay. You'll see in this same beaker, this is the same beaker, which is actually observation what you are seeing. This is the observation. Okay. In this, the water was there, right? And you have added the seeds. And you can see that the seeds have formed here two layers. The seeds have formed here two layers. One layer of the seed is floating upon the surface of the water. One layer of the seed is floating upon the surface of the water, and another layer of the seeds has sinked down at the bottom of the beaker, right? Another layer of the seed is present over here, that is sinked at the bottom of the beaker, right? This is actually the observation, what you are observing after addition of the seed to the beaker which is containing the water, stirring that and allowed for settle. That time you will observe this particular beaker over there, where two layers of seeds are there. This is floating seeds, right? These are sinked seeds. This is water, right? So here you are observing two layers of the seeds. So here which one is to be selected for the purpose of sowing? Among these two layers of the seeds, which one is of healthy or which one is of good quality, right? We can say that the seeds which are sinked at the bottom, the seeds which are sinked at the bottom are of good quality, seeds, right? Because these are having the mass, and the seeds which are having the mass are definitely going to sink at the bottom of the beaker which is containing the water in it. And the seeds which are porous from inside, hollow inside, which are not having the mass, weight is not present, right? So these seeds are called as unhealthy seeds. These are unhealthy seeds. If you sow this kind of unhealthy seeds, then we cannot expect any kind of a plantlet from the seeds. These seeds may not go for germination only, first thing. If at all they germinated, they may give rise to an unhealthy crop plant only. Right? So better we are going to take care before sowing only we are selecting the good quality seeds. That's why we are selecting the synced seeds. Right? So here we are selecting the good quality seeds in the form of a synced one. Okay. So these seeds are now ready. Okay, the good quality seeds we have separated from the unhealthy seeds, and now these seeds are ready for the purpose of sowing. Okay, so here the process of sowing is also can be done in two ways. Two methods are there in the sowing process. One is traditional method. One is traditional method. Right. The second one is modern method. Second one is modern method. Traditional method and modern method. Right. Here the traditional method means what the plow was there. Remember, plow was there, right? In that same plow only a funnel shaped arrangement will be there. A funnel shaped arrangement will be there. Okay. Here actually which is having a small needle-like strips over here. Through that the seeds are going to be released to the layer of the soil. You can make it 3 or 4 needle-like structures will be there. Through that the seeds are going to be released to the soil. Okay, this is again can be driven by the animals right here. So this funnel-like structure what you are observing in the diagram, this complete structure is about traditional method. This is about traditional method of sowing. Right. So in this funnel-like structure we are going to add the seeds. Right. In this we have to add the seeds. So these seeds are going to come to this particular part because this wooden log is completely hollow inside. Right. So they are going to be collected over here to the base, and through this pointed structure the seeds are going to be released to the soil. Right. These pointed structures are going to immerse inside the soil. This is going to pierce the soil layer and enter inside the soil layer, and seeds are released inside the soil layer. Right. Once it is done, then again they have to move a little bit front, and again they have to start addition of the seeds, and this will be released by this to the soil. This is completely about the traditional method of sowing. Right. You can say here only that this traditional method is consuming lots of time as well as labor. Right. This is consuming lots of time and labor. So we are checking now to the modern methods of sowing. Right. So what is that modern method of sowing? So see here. Modern method of sowing. Okay. So in this modern method, this is actually again the sowing machine only, which is called as a seed drill. Which is called as a seed drill. Means seed drill is the tool, is the machine used for the purpose of sowing the seeds. You may ask one more, you may get one more question like what is a seed drill? Seed drill is a modern tool which is used for the purpose of sowing. Right. So how the construction of the seed drill is present? Seed drill is again a tractor driven machine. Right. Seed drill is a tractor driven machine, and this is attached, this part is attached to the tractor. Right. And here you can see that this is piercing the soil and releasing the seed inside the soil layer. Right, this is the system which is attached to the back side of the tractor. Actually here it is again having the holes. Okay, so seeds are added at that particular tank which is present over here and which is attached to the tractor. Okay, through that part the seeds are flowing down here because this complete system is porous inside and it is collected over here, right? And through these pointed strips the seeds are allowed to release inside the soil layer, right? Release inside the soil layer. Okay, so this is going to pierce the layer of the surface of the soil and releasing the seeds inside. Okay, here this seed drill is not going to sow the seeds upon the surface of the soil, not upon the surface. This is going to pierce the soil layer and releasing the seeds inside the soil layer, little bit inside. Okay, so why it is required to sow the seeds inside the surface of the soil? Why can't we go for sowing the seeds upon the surface of the soil? Okay, if that is the thing, then just imagine that here some seeds are there which are present upon the surface of the soil. So if this is the condition, then these seeds may be eaten up by the birds, right? These seeds which are sown upon the surface of the soil may be eaten up by the birds, right? Or else they may be even blown away by the wind. If the heavy wind blows over this particular area, then these can be blown out from that particular area. Right? Then what is the fun in sowing? That's why we have to sow the seeds a little bit deep inside the soil layer. They will be secured over there. Right? And when they get germinate, the shoot and the roots will develop. The shoot starts emerging out from the soil surface. Right? So this is actually a very good practice which is going to be followed by the seed drill method. Fine. So this is the modern method of sowing, students. So here you understand here the second step in agriculture process, that is sowing. Okay. In my next class I will explain you about the third step in agriculture, that is adding the manure and fertilizers. Okay. You remember now up to the process we have sowed the seeds in our field. Right, in the next week's class, in the next class, I will explain you how we have to go for addition of the manures and fertilizers and which we have to select. Right? Okay, students, thank you.